News this morning now with Fox 35's Amanda McKenzie. Amanda, this ride has only been open, what, a few months or so now, right?
It opened just 3 months ago in December, and at 430 feet tall, it is the world's largest freestanding drop tower. It takes up to 30 people in a slowly spinning gondola to the sky. According to a news release from Icon Park, Tyre Construction LLC is the general contractor responsible for building the landmark attraction and is the manufacturer of the rides at Fun Time. The ride is owned and operated by the Slingshot Group of companies. Just moments ago, we heard from a company spokesperson about the tragedy.
We operate the ride with all the safety precautions in mind. Everything is in place, and this is why we're doing this investigation.
Strapped-in passengers free-fall nearly 400 feet at speeds reaching over 75 miles per hour. In order to get on the ride, officials say each rider must be a minimum of 50 inches, so just over 4 feet 2 inches tall. Now, there are certainly many questions surrounding how something like this could go wrong. This continues to be an active investigation. Reporting live in Orlando, Amanda McKenzie, Fox 35 News.
All right, Amanda, thank you. And you can depend on Fox 35 to stay on top of this breaking news story for you. As soon as any new information comes into our newsroom, we, of course, will let you know right away. We can do that online. We can also do it on the Fox 35 News app and, of course, on our website as well.
Okay, I wanted to come on here and talk about this tragedy, and it is definitely a tragedy that happened at this amusement park called, I think it's called Icon, a theme park down in Orlando, Florida, where you had this teenager who you see right here. His name is Tyre Sampson. He was 14 years old, and he got onto this ride, like one of them drop rides. Kind of reminds me of the Drop Zone at King's Dominion. For those who live in Virginia, are familiar with that ride and familiar with that theme park. And basically, he got on the ride, and his harness was not secure when he was getting ready to be sent up into the air. And as a matter of fact, let me show you right quick. Here he is right here. So this is the image of the ride going at the top, and this is him right here. As you can see, his harness is not all the way down. See this? It's not even fastened in. But basically what happened was, and I saw the video for it, and it was traumatic, and it was very traumatic, very, very traumatizing. And I'm not even going to bother posting the video on here, because for what? Some of you probably have already seen it. But basically, he got sent up to the air with everyone else on the ride. His harness was not secure. And, you know, it's a smooth ride going up because you're going up slowly. So all you have to do is hold the harness down into place. And I can only imagine how fearful he was before that thing was getting ready to drop. And he probably was like, I need to hold on to this harness as tight as I can. But when you're free falling on a ride like that, the more you descend, the more faster it gets before it hits that brake. And all of a sudden, the ride gets to the top. It kind of swirls up there for a little bit. And then it does its free fall. And right as it's getting ready to hit the brake, or right at that point, all of a sudden, the harness flies all the way up, and you see a body fly right out of the seat and literally make a loud thud sound on the ground. Like, if you saw the video, like the raw video, like I had the displeasure of doing, you will actually see that happen in real time, unedited. And when I tell you, that imagery sent a shock through my body, like, because I could not believe I was actually watching that happen unedited. You know, sometimes they'll, like, if you watch it on the news clip, they'll stop it right before whatever happens, the very bad part happens. But, you know, this is being an unedited video, you actually saw and heard everything. And of course, when he hit the ground, everyone started panicking. People on the ground was saying, oh my God, somebody help, because they said, please let us off the ride and everything like that. And then it's like, it was a slow reaction from the people who operated the ride to get to the boy. I don't know if it's because they were in shock like everyone else. That could have been a thing, but his family is not going to look at it and see it that way. there's so much that was wrong with this right here. One, look at his size. They should have known that he would not been able to fit on that ride, because they have ride measurements. Like if you're too tall, not too tall. If you're too short, you can't get on certain rides. If you're too big, you can get onto many rides. And one thing I had told somebody else is they don't make a lot of these rides, I guess you could say, big people friendly. Like a lot of these rides are made for people with a smaller frame. There's one thing when it comes to height, because you can grow into your height unless you're just destined to be short. But when it comes to the size, a lot of these rides are not made for people with a bigger body frame like himself. Remember, like you saw the pictures, he played football. He was a big boy, like big for 14 years old. If they didn't tell us when he was 14, I would have assumed he was way older. But yeah, this is the picture right here. Like you can see the harness is still up. And that's how he got sent up. While everyone else's harness was down and secure and fastened in, his was still up and not even fastened because they couldn't fasten it. And I don't know if he gave the illusion that it was fastened or if they were not doing their job. See, the thing is, we know that the family is going to take out a lawsuit, and rightfully so. But don't think for 1 second that the park is not going to do their own internal investigation just to see that if there's a way they can save themselves to not avoid having to pay out any money or not as much money. But the thing is, someone died on your ride or died from your ride in your park. So you have blood on your hands, because they're going to look at the park and say, well, you saw his size. You could have told him that he wouldn't be able to fit. Why? And also, why didn't you go and look to see if he was completely secure inside of the seat? They're going to ask all of those questions and plus a whole lot more. So I think it's safe to say that the family's most likely going to win whatever lawsuit that they take out for against this park. And they definitely will. Like there's millions of dollars in wrongful death suits coming their way. This is just a very unfortunate tragedy. Like that video, oh my God, is playing in my head right now as I'm talking in this video. We've heard people with incidents happening at amusement parks and theme parks all the time, but you usually only hear about it on the news. To actually see video recording of it is insane, because the person recording it, I guess I could tell they're recording for somebody else because of the angle in which they were recording, because they were recording from one side. And the thing is, when that thing is going up, I think it's rotating in a circle as it goes up, which usually a lot of those drop zone rides tend to do, because I've been on those kind of rides before. And the person is talking, and all of a sudden then that happens, and it's like the person who was talking, who was so excited, they was in such shock they could barely talk anymore. They were at a loss for words. Most likely I would probably be the same way. But like I said, I couldn't imagine how scared he was going up knowing his harness wasn't secure. So, yeah. And the thing is, because there was no malfunction with the ride, they're really going to look at it at another end. The park is probably going to look at it from another angle as well. Because see, the ride wasn't malfunction. It was just his seat because the harness wasn't secure. Because if the ride was malfunction, then that means everybody's harness probably would have went up, or one half of the harnesses would have went up, but it was just his because his wasn't even secure at all. Like I said, here's the picture. It's all the way up here, and usually right up in here, it should come down, and it should be like a fasten or it should lock. It's like usually when it comes to these harnesses like that, it's like a 2-lock system, and then they'll have something in there to secure yourself. Or like if you're in one of those roller coasters where it's a lap bar, the lap bar comes down, you got to put it down, and it's like so secure against your lap that you cannot even move. It should not have any space. You shouldn't be, and it shouldn't like have any room for you to wiggle it. But just wow, like I said, I'm at a loss for words. when I first saw that video, I was legit at a loss for words. It's going to be a lot of lawsuits. I'm guaranteeing it's going to be a lot of lawsuits. They said that was he was halfway down a 400-foot descent. So that means he fell out of his seat at 200 feet and then hit that ground at 200 feet going down. That's not a far drop when you think about it, especially if you're free falling like that. Take it for someone who went skydiving. That's not a far fall to hit, especially coming down at those speeds, because you're literally, when you're free falling like that, you're literally it's like you're being pushed down. So that was a very hard hit to the ground. Instant impact, instant death. But we'll see what happens, because people are going to look at the people who operate this ride. Someone is in the quotes saying, "Are you sure you checked him?" According to one of the people in the park who was there. They said one frenzied woman can be seen asking staffers if they had secured Sampson's safety harness before the ride, and then came back and said, "Are you sure she checked them?" Because that's what she repeatedly had said. They said other workers can be seen covering their mouths in paralyzed disbelief, while bystanders hurried their traumatized kids away from the scene. Meanwhile, riders can be heard yelling at workers to unlock their harness. And it says he died after being rushed to a local hospital. If they didn't secure him, the family is going to win that lawsuit. If all they got to do is say, "Oh, he wasn't secure," and we can look right here and clearly tell that he wasn't. Now here's another image. Now look at this. Look at all the guys that are next to him, and I'm assuming that he's probably there with them. Look at his secure. This is Tyre right here. Look at his harness. That thing is all the way up there sitting on his belly. It is not down here and secure like it is on the other two guys sitting right here. His harness was wide open, which means he was holding onto those bars as much as he could. But the intensity from the drop, like I said, once it gets to a certain point, or right when it's getting ready to hit that brake, because when you hit that brake, it's kind of a very abrupt stop. It's not a smooth stop. It's very abrupt. So it comes down like really, really hard. And that's when he couldn't hold on anymore, and he flew out. My goodness. I saw a lot of people in the comment section saying, "This is exactly why I don't do roller coasters. This is why I don't do these type of rides and all types of stuff like that." This park is going to lose a lot of money from the lawsuits that his family is going to take out, and from people not wanting to go there. Of course, this ride is probably going to be shut down because of the controversy behind it. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with the ride. The ride didn't have the malfunction. It's the fact that they saw that this boy was not properly secure, and they didn't check to see if he was in. And like I said, if they knew he wouldn't be able to fit into the ride, why did they allow him on? That's going to be the biggest question. If you knew that he was too big to ride this ride, why did you allow him to get on? Now, like I said, what they need to start doing is they're going to have to start making these rides a little bit big people friendly. That's what's going to end up happening. That's what a lot of these theme parks are going to end up doing. Because you don't think that because this happened at this theme park down in Orlando, which appears to be a small park, this is going to send shockwaves throughout the entire theme park industry, especially to like bigger parks. They're gonna be like, "Oh, we better do something." You know, summer's approaching, so you know people be coming in floods. We got to do something. It's probably a little too late now, so they got to push for 2023. But yeah, R.I.P. to Tyre Sampson. I offer my condolences to his family and his loved ones. This definitely could have been majorly avoided. But y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you are new, make sure you hit that bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live.